Hello, we're live. 2026, we made it. I hope everyone is having a good start to the year. Happy New Year to everyone, but more importantly, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are joining me from in the world. Happy Friday. My goodness, I thought, we'd ease ourselves into 2026. But Howie Claus has no chill, and I'm here for it because there's nothing I love more than when InArt has a product announcement and Hot Toys just goes, here's a new figure, here's a new figure, here's a new license, here's another new figure. Maybe it's petty, but I'm here for it. And I particularly love that they tend to find really classic, nostalgic figures to announce when there's an InArt announcement. I can think of there was a Han Solo once that they dropped, and now we've got Indiana Jones, we've got a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, K-pop Demon Hunters license, and an Iron Man because it's Hot Toys. They've always got to drop some kind of obscure Iron Man. But yeah, on New Year's Day, I was just watching these announcements come by, and as I said, I wasn't mad about it. It does kind of make me chuckle how you can kind of set your clock to Hot Toys doing this. And the InArt stream, my goodness, we're going to talk about the InArt stream. We're going to talk about the Terminator. I promised you guys we'd talk about the Terminator this week. We've got quite a bit of newsy news to get into, but we've also got quite a few comments. Quite a few people in the chat here to hang out this Friday. So thank you very much for coming to hang out. I'm not sure if it's most people were off work today. It's really funny. Where I work originally was going to have this as a work day, and I was just like, why would you do that? Because all you're going to do is have everybody either fighting for the day off or calling in sick. So thankfully they saw reason, and I got the day off work, so I was not mad about that either. Who's here in the chat? We've got Natalie Harris. Hiya, Helen. Hope you're well. Happy New Year from the UK. Happy New Year to you, Natalie. Lovely to see you in the chat. We've got Toy Collector. Happy Friday and Happy New Year, everyone. Same to you. Carlos is here. Happy New Year, Helen and chat. I'm live watching today. Oh, cool. From a bitter 28-degree cold New Jersey with a real feel of 18. Oh, my goodness. Hot Toys drops a year-end finale of a Spidey figure. Wrong comment. Is this the figure that will pull you into collecting Spider-Man? Since we're starting the year off with a bang, any ideas of what Hot Toys may bring to us in the next coming months? Look, it's so funny that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, this is where I'm glad I'm not the person who is counting stitches between Catwoman's mask and the cape clips are in the wrong place, because my reaction was, oh, cool, they're doing a battle damage Toby. Isn't that nice? And I felt like all I saw was people picking it apart, which was interesting. But as I said, I'm very much glad I'm in the it looks cool category of collector. Those things don't tend to get me as much, but I'm not starting any new lines until I sort out what I'm going to do with my cabinets. And I actually thought I'd go to this shop that has cabinets. They had all these things on Facebook. They're open. And I drove about 25 minutes and it was closed. And I rang them and they're like, no, we're on holiday hours. And I'm like, well, your many Facebook Marketplace ads do not note that. So I had thought I'd at least get a visual to know if they were what I wanted to do. But yeah. Maybe this year I'll sort this room out. Toy Collector says, looking forward to seeing the full reveal of those K-pop Demon Hunter figures. Maybe a purchase for my daughter. Your daughter? Your daughter or yourself? Anthony Stanfield is here as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Shiro Slam. Yes, I'm still pushing that narrative. Yeah, look, does this stream need a name? It's a great question. I mean, I'm pretty sure you said to me as well, Anthony, that I need a little intro clip. And look, I have an intro clip now. I'm super fancy. And Joe, what else I've got with the paid StreamYard? I was going to save this for later, but I want to do it now. I can now upload clips. And if you follow me on social media, I was pretty quick to clip this, and I can't promise I'm not going to play this a few times in this stream. So let's do the first roll of it now.
Receive the priority shipping. So the earlier whoa.
That poor woman. I have so much to say about that stream. Like I legitimately do. We've got Keith Lee. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Howie Claus is here. Happy New Year, Year of Howard. Yeah, I think it's every year is Howard's year. My goodness. Yeah, as I said, I'm not mad about Howie Claus. And he's do we call it vengeful? I don't know. He's wanting to be number one. That's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that, Howard. Laura's here. Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year to you too. Ermin's here. I'm here for you, sister. Well, hello, I'm here for you too. Are you at the gym? Do you take any time off from the gym for Christmas and New Year's? I don't know. I never go to the gym. Laura agrees. Love it when Hot Toys is sassy. Me 3. Oh, Laura's at work. Bummer. I was really shocked when my work said they were going to open, but was pleasantly surprised when they changed their minds. So we did have to take that as leave. But as I said, I wasn't mad about it. But yeah, and it's funny because everyone thinks today's a public holiday and it's not. So I'm sorry that you're at work. Winman42 is here. Happy New Year to everyone. Hello, Winman. Hope you're doing well. Luminar is here as well. Hello, Happy New Year. Lumi, I have to know, have you got your blade, your SooSoo Toys blade in hand yet? I feel like maybe I saw on points of articulation that you do. So I'm keen to know what you think because I know you were waiting for such a long time. So I hope it was worth the wait. Oh, Keith's working too. Well, hopefully it's a quiet day for you guys. Hopefully it's a quiet day. So we've got Mike here. Hey, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm so thankful for your stream today, Helen, because since being off for the holidays, I lost track of the days, and this reminds me it's Friday. Oh, my goodness. I've been in the same boat because I normally have lunch with my mum on a Sunday, and so I had lunch with her on New Year's Day. So in my mind, suddenly it was Sunday. And I just, it's, well, not that I'm wanting to go back to work in a hurry, but yeah, I find it a little bit disconcerting when I forget what day of the week it is. Oh, we got AJ as well. Greetings, Helen and friends. I'll have to catch the replay, but I hope everyone has an absolutely fantastic stream. Well, I hope you enjoy it when you catch the replay, AJ. Thank you for coming to say hello. Mike says, Helen, thank you for that little clip of joy. I didn't watch the InArt stream, but that highlight is too hilarious to miss. Look, as I said, I was watching it live when that happened, and those streams, as I said, I've got so many thoughts about them. But then when that happened, because that figure was posed so badly, it had the biggest lean, and then let's put it on a turntable with no stand. And then I laughed because as it fell, you could see the blue tack on its feet. And it's like, well, I don't know what you thought that was going to do. But anyway, Keith says, my daughter loves K-pop Demon Hunters as well. Barbie is coming out with their version. Oh, the 3-pack is 150. A bit much for what they will be, but we might be interested in the Hot Toys versions. Well, I mean, sounds like a few people are going to use their children as a reason to get the K-pop Demon Hunters. Why not? Adam Doom is here. Hello, Helen and chat. Well, hello to you, Adam. Hope you're doing well. Winman says those Hot Toys drops have absolutely nothing to do with InArt. With or without them, Hot Toys remains number one, and InArt has decades before they can challenge, in my opinion. Winman, I definitely think there's a correlation between Hot Toys making some announcements and InArt products going up for pre-order. I feel like you set your clock to it. So it has happened too often for it not to be a coincidence. And as I said, I'm not mad about it. And I think it's quite a clever strategy because I think they would know people, let's be honest, not everyone can afford to buy everything. So you're going up for pre-order and they're making you question what you put your money on. As I said, and I have to think with some of the characters they've used, I definitely have to feel there's some kind of strategy to it. Carlos, thank you. Let's not forget to hit the like button for our dear friend Helen. I mean, I'd appreciate it. It's free. It's 2026. Drop some likes. Subscribe if you haven't. Why not? We have a lot of fun here, I like to think. Keith says, honestly, after being off since 19th December, I don't know what day it is anymore. Oh, you're lucky. You finished up on the Friday. I worked up until Christmas Eve. But as I said, I was grateful to get today off because I didn't think I would. Lumi says that the blade looks great. The head sculpt's better than the present toys, and the sword is die cast. Oh, that's very cool. I use my daughter as an excuse to get Wednesday too. I was talking to was it? I can't remember if it was 14 Wellington or Big Rib who said that they got the Wednesday with their wife as well. And I was like, hey, if that's what gets it into your collection, you do you. But yeah, Wednesday's a fantastic figure. I think she's really underrated. Cousin's here. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year to Cousin. Cousin Anthony, bless his heart, has been trying to help me get the eyes right on my Artisan Black Widow. I hate having to use the rolling eyes with rooted hair. I don't love it. And the Black Widow's eye popped out at one stage, but I got it in. It was actually not that hard to do. But yeah, I'm so over trying to get Natasha's eyes right. I just cannot. Happy New Year, Helen and chat. Happy New Year to you too, JB. Mike says, I chuckled when I got the notification for 3 Hot Toys drops on New Year's Eve, but I definitely gave that new Iron Man a hard eye roll. Look, I feel like they always do some kind of obscure Iron Man early on in the year. Doesn't particularly shock me. Carlos says, Helen, the InArt snip is hilarious. Poor girl's reaction and probable humiliation. What were they thinking? I know we talked about this, but I still can't understand the rationale. Me neither. As I said, I've got a lot of thoughts about that stream, and we will definitely talk about it, and I will definitely play that clip again. It's saved in StreamYard. Who knows when I'll pull it out again? It might be something I do every week. Cousin Anthony says that the SooSoo sword isn't die cast. Okay, fair enough. I would have no idea. Let's dive into the newsy news because there's a lot of it, and how long is it going to take? I don't know. This will be interesting. So, first off, as I like to do, I want to say a quick thank you to my channel members. So, to the Broke Collector, AJ Agrusa, Pop Culture Living Room, Kevin LaFranc, Aaron Broverman, Tijuana Mike, Keith Lee, Valkyrie Magnus, Miss Batwoman, Bob Dylan, and Blue Tattoo. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Guys, it's 2026, but we've still got to warn people not to buy from William Wang / One Man's Hobby. It's really funny. I did a video before the new year about the Hot Toys artisan line and things that I think people, the Hot Toys needs to improve, right? And I laughed because someone commented about, oh, what do you mean you can't get them in Australia? I got this figure from a reseller and he's an awesome dude and he gave it to me with a discount and free shipping. And I'm like, yeah, and you know what? Lots of people thought William Wang was an awesome dude before he ran away with hundreds of thousands of people's dollars. And I'm sure at some point in time, people probably thought Philip Blue and Toys Wonderland were good blokes and all the other resellers that have come and gone and disappeared with people's money. So this is why we have the PSAs, because there's still people out there who live in fantastical land where they don't realize that buying from resellers can be risky. Proceed with caution, but this website is still up. So hence, we have this warning, even in 2026. William Wang, One Man's Hobby, do not engage. And if you have, please try to initiate chargeback proceedings, because I'm pretty confident he's not going to rock up in 2026. I maybe when we hit a year, we can have like an anniversary stream. We can have some Tim Tam slams. We can make a real occasion of it because dude is not coming back. How long will the news take? No worries. We have all day night. Look, Helen needs to sleep, but I don't know. I don't know how long the newsy news is going to take. It depends how much audience participation I get. Keith says, if anything, hopefully the T800 tumble will make a compelling case for 2 stands with this release. Well, I mean, I would have thought so. We all love a conspiracy theory, but Hot Toys, limited editions aside, Hot Toys is always going to sell more than InArt, but sure, Hot Toys upends its schedule to fight the worst live stream ever. I don't doubt that they do plan and hang on to some announcements. I 100% think that they do. I have to ask, will you have anything planned for 1 year? Well, I mean, that's what I said. Maybe we should. Maybe we should have, yeah, I literally just answered your question. Maybe we should. Maybe we can have Tim Tam slams. Maybe we can do like a giveaway. Maybe we'll do something fun for the one year anniversary of William disappearing and never being heard from again. What's it going to take for that website? Oh, what's it going to take that website down? Every day it's up, another person's getting scammed. Great question, Adam. I'm just hoping the hosting expires soon. But this is why I keep this PSA in this stream, because it's up. And as I said, I had a comment in my YouTube video like 2 days ago. Resellers, awesome dudes. They're also fantastic. And I'm not saying all of them are bad, but unfortunately we have had a history in this hobby of some awesome dudes. As I said, so many people defending William, going, you'll see, he's just taking a break. It's just Will. You guys will all have egg on your face. All you people that are like, you know, making a mountain out of a molehill because the guy's taking a little break. Where's he been? He's pretty much been gone for a year. So yeah, this is where I'm like, I proceed with caution, and you know, things that have a long lead time for pre-order, I'm typically not going through a reseller. I've hand on heart pre-ordered one Hot Toys figure with a reseller because it was Artisan Bucky, and at that time it was the only option I had. And if I had another avenue, I would not have done it. But I went into that knowing it was a risk, and I've paid the absolute minimum deposit, and I will not pay another cent till I'm told it's coming to me. So sadly, PSA stays up, and hopefully that website comes down very soon. Guys, I had to include this SooSoo toys, you know, so slow toys as we like to call them. Finally saying that they call it Home Light. I believe it's Starlight from the boys. That figure apparently is coming this week. I'm pretty sure that thing is like 3 or 3.5 years since that went up for pre-order. And I really feel for people, because I've got no doubt there's some people that have moved on from the boys line because they were sick of waiting for figures like this. So if that is you, I am sorry. I don't know what's going on with SooSoo Toys. I know I've got like 4 figures on pre-order with them that are taking forever. And these warrior figures, are they Cayman Riders? I don't know what they are. That seems to be the one thing they've been like consistently pumping out of late. But I'm hoping 2026 might be the year that SooSoo actually catches up on the backlog. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe stop doing these random drops of 300 figures of things no one asked for until you catch up. Like, that would be amazing. Carlos says, yeah, he took a little break with everyone's money. The fools that don't do their homework. Yep, keep the PSA going. You're doing a great thing to warn the masses. Thank you. As I said, while that website's up, because I feel like if you're in the group, you know what's up, but so many people just, this is what gets me, like people, and you go on Reddit or Facebook group and the names of businesses. Has anybody bought from, and I'm like, I've literally never heard of that website before in my life. I don't get why people don't stick to the trusted retailers. So I just did a quick Google search for Tim Tam movie clips, and one Australian production called Muriel's Wedding. Oh my God. And I quote the iconic Tim Tam slam in it. Not sure if it's a good movie show. Muriel's Wedding is kind of an iconic Australian movie. We have like a story time with Helen. There's this period of comedy, and I think Paul Hogan, as in Crocodile Dundee, did he direct Muriel's Wedding? I think he might have. Or he's got some involvement with Muriel's Wedding. We had some really classic Australian comedies in like the mid-90s, so like Muriel's Wedding, The Castle. There was a few of them that I just much loved. And I actually Muriel's Wedding was a movie that I studied like as part of like year 12 English. Rachel Griffiths is in it. It's a great movie. Toni Collette, Rachel Griffiths. It's actually a really good cast of Australians. Like, I don't know if like it's Mariel Van Arkel, and Mariel Van Arkel stinks. Yeah, I don't know if like, I feel like maybe people in the UK would get the comedy. I don't know if some of the humor would land in other countries, but yeah, Muriel's Wedding is kind of a super classic movie, and The Castle is awesome. That actually has Eric Bana in it as well. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, I love Muriel's Wedding. There's so many little lines from that movie that I could quote at different times, but I don't, because I don't think other people would get it. But yeah, it was it's such a good movie. Oh, I have to check it out. I had no idea this movie was a thing. Yeah, it was it's really funny because yeah, just little lines like Deirdre Chambers, what a coincidence, all the things that happen. It's very, yeah, it's a very loved Australian comedy. Never saw the movie, but Toni Collette is an awesome actress. She is, and she's very good in this. As she and Rachel Griffiths are fantastic in this movie. So, yeah, probably heading around to 30 years old now. But as I said, it's one of those movies that you still get on TV now and then. And that and The Castle, I always have to kind of stop and watch. They're very, very much loved in Australia. I'd like to very much love SooSoo Toys, who are releasing figures in 2026, but let's see how that's go. Let's see how that's go. Anthony knows. It's Mario, classic. I know, right? Oh, I love that movie. I could talk about that movie for a long, long time. But anyway, we'll move on. But if you want a nice Australian, oh my God, quickly, sorry, side note. If you also want an Australian comedy that I love, it's on Netflix. There's a comedy series called Fisk, Fisk. It stars Kitty Flanagan, who is like my favorite comedian. It's got a really strong Australian cast, like Aaron Chen, Julia Zamira. I think all 3 seasons are on Netflix. I know in the US, I'm hoping globally. I love that. I rewatch that all the time. I literally just rewatched it during Christmas and New Year because it's just funny and I love it. So yeah, sorry. It's enough about TV from Helen. I do watch stuff, guys. I do watch stuff. InArt. Should we talk about the InArt Terminator? So bless them. They hyped it up. It's going up for pre-order 29th. If you order by this date, you can get $4 off. $4 whole. What will you do with your $4 whole off? Oh, Anthony, you've seen Fisk. Fisk is hilarious. I love it. I freaking love Fisk. I love it so much. $4 off. What a discount. What a discount. And to accompany the product launch, they did not 1 but 2 YouTube live streams. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't bring myself to watch all of them. I tuned into the first stream and I turned up my laptop volume. I turned up the YouTube volume. I couldn't hear. I'm like, is this my tinnitus or is this just horrible audio? So I abandoned ship because they were doing a new stream the next day. So I thought, okay, maybe the new stream the next day, maybe that might be a bit different. But no, it wasn't. It was this same young lady who, no criticism of her. Like, she, as we would say in Australia, she gave it a crack. She gave it a go. I think English clearly not her first language. And I have to say, I know I didn't watch a lot of the stream, but the little innuendo comments that some people were dropping, I really felt for her because she had no idea at some of the things that people were trying to insinuate with their comments. So I felt for her. I don't know what her role is at InArt. I don't know how good the information she was given was, but I certainly know that the way that Terminator was posed on that rotating turntable was a shamozzle. And there were so many people in the comments saying to them, like, that thing's on a serious lean. That thing doesn't look good. And guys, we all know what happened, right? This poor woman is doing her best trying to answer people's questions. It didn't even look like she had all the information. Like, she's waiting to get fed the information to say the thing. And as she's trying to explain it, we all know what happened.
Receive the priority shipping. So the earlier whoa.
And I just was like, this can't get any worse for her. This poor woman. Like, who has hung her out to dry at InArt? Like, I don't know where John was. And even that other guy, was his name Ivan, who was on, like, the stream with Will and Kiko once? Like, where was that guy? Where was someone? Like, you're on YouTube. We all know YouTube is going to be a pretty, like, English-speaking dominant audience. Would you not have someone that I think is maybe a little bit stronger with English? As I said, I thought she did well under the circumstances. But for me, I was just sitting there going, where's John or someone similar to John? Because this poor woman is here doing her best. And I was dying inside for her. Like, the secondhand embarrassment I had. So I'm hoping that the people at InArt realize they've hung this woman out to dry, and I hope there's a basket of muffins or something in her future, because seriously, what a load of rubbish that was. And here's a nice summary of the InArt stream. InArt stream went like this: 2 bodies, no 1 body. No, sorry, 2 bodies. 3 heads, no 2 heads. Yes, sorry, 2 heads. 2 jackets, 2 trousers, 2 bases. Sorry, 1 base. Yeah, I think you guys need 2 bases. I think you guys also need to realize that the figure to have on the turntable, if you really needed to have a figure on the turntable, was the museum pose figure on the stand. Having a figure with a really leaning walking pose on a rotating turntable, I'm sorry, that was always going to end pretty badly. And that tiny bit of blue tack you'd put on his feet, I'm sorry, that was not enough to save that thing. Like, as I said, I'm just going, who set that up? Because that was a horrible, horrible idea. If you wanted it to turn, you could have had like a manual turntable. She could have turned it herself. Or, as I said, put the static museum pose figure on a stand. And all that made people do was say, are you sure you don't want to have 2 stands? Because I agree, if you're going to call this a 2-pack, as they've now done, because originally it was 1 body and all the accessories. And then since the stream, they've gone, no, we're going to give people 2 bodies. Although I don't know that their website has been updated. I know last I checked, it still hadn't been updated to reflect the fact that apparently now you're getting 2 bodies. I'm just like, any 2-pack I've bought with 2 bodies has 2 display stands. If you're offering it as a separate outfit, I totally get 1 display stand. But a 2-pack with 1 base, it's like when they tried to do the 4-pack Joker with 3 bases. Like, where do they come up with this stuff? It really makes no sense to me why you wouldn't. If you're going to chuck in a whole extra body, and let's be honest, that base, sorry, is nothing special. That base is pretty plain. I can't imagine that costs a lot. Or if it's so expensive, give people an option to buy it separately. Give people an option to buy another base. I just think if you're going to call it a 2-pack, give it a second base. $4, I better jump on this. Not really. I mean, $4 is almost a packet of Tim Tams, Mike. The InArt T1 launch fiasco has been most entertaining over the holidays. Well, I mean, I don't know if this was what they were going for. Like, were they hoping it would be so cringy that it would get more eyeballs? I don't know. Not going to lie, a bit underwhelmed with this figure. Me too. We'll talk about the figure. I just wanted to talk about the stream first because I just think it was such a poor showing. And then it's funny because people are like, oh, see, Hot Toys should be doing this. They should be communicating more. I'm sure Hot Toys looked at that and went, yeah, this is why we don't do this stuff. Because we don't want to be the company with our figure toppling over for everyone like me to clip and play for the end of time. Carlos says, with the $4 off, I can buy... you can buy some of your biscuits. Is it alfajores or maybe a quarter of a Tim Tam box of cookies. Yeah, I mean, go nuts, Carlos. Winman says, I watched 75% of stream 1 and 0% of stream 2. Apparently, they didn't learn anything from the first day stream. Just an abysmal performance from a company that should have known better. Well, as I said, I could barely hear the audio in that first stream. So at least that was better. With the second stream, I could actually understand what the young lady was saying. Because that first stream, I tuned in and I literally was like, is my hearing worse than what I think it is? Because I just can't make out what this audio is. So when I saw there was the second stream, I was like, cool, okay, maybe they'll improve. And I thought maybe the second stream would be with John, would be someone else. But it was just a wash, rinse, and repeat. And I don't really understand why they did two. But also, like, I remember there was a point in time where John had said because when he wasn't appearing in a lot of streams, and he said, oh, I'd kind of stepped out from some of the InArt stuff, but then there'd been a few issues with translation and things not being quite accurate, so they've brought me back in. And I'm going, well, he either needs to keep being involved or they need to find someone who has a lot stronger English that can carry that role for the InArt brand. Because as I said, I'm not laying any blame on this young woman. I absolutely think she was a trooper because Lord knows if that was me and that figure fell, I'd walk off. I'd be like, you know what, mate, you posed it like crap. You can do this stream. I'm out. I would not have hung around. If anything, that clip of the Terminator falling off the turntable could have been a major selling point by saying how durable it is after hitting the floor. I'm sorry, that will not get old. Yeah, some people did say that. Some people joked, oh, look how durable it is. And I'm like, I don't want my figures taking a tumble. Wonky posing, love how the camera pans to the empty space. I know, that's what got me, right? Like, instead of just, like, moving to her, they're like, let's zoom in on where the figure was.
Will receive the priority shipping. So, the earlier whoa.
Great camera work, guys. It took them a while to then go, oh, hang on, let's zoom in on the lady with the one figure still standing. Seriously. Now you should show the Justin one as well. And this is what got me, because apparently they, I think Justin made a comment once that they weren't happy that he included that clip. So I was like, well, how do they feel now, given so many people are like posting that everywhere? I was honestly like, I put that clip up and I was like, are they going to copyright strike me to try to get that taken down? I'm shocked they haven't as yet. Cousin Anthony says, I sympathize with the T800 looking for the Soul Stone, but it was kind of funny that just that moment someone asked for a battle damaged version. Well, I mean, enhanced battle damage now. Mike's having a laugh. I feel like they could have better anticipated the questions they were going to get on this release. They did not give her the tools to be successful. I agree, Keith, because there were so many times where questions would come in and you'd see she's kind of looking around to like get the information. So that's why I was like, why didn't they have notes? Or why not have it as a moderated conversation where there's set questions and that's what they go through in the stream? Like, there was so many other ways they could have executed that better than having it as a free-for-all. Because as I said, some of the little innuendo comments that I saw, I was just like, this poor woman has no idea. She has no idea. I felt really bad for her. So basically PO and see what comes in the box. Well, some assembly is generally required with InArt, right? Such confused messaging, a student project would have been more professional. Surprised to see. I'm guessing all the senior people were away on holiday. Well, then don't do it at that time. This is my whole thing. Like, no one made you open the pre-orders at this time. No one made you stream at this time. And I just feel like, as I said, it's not like they're doing something on Chinese social media where, you know, you've got native language speakers. But even then, as I said, the woman didn't appear to have the information that she needed. So it was just a shamozzle. Like, I don't know. Were they the work experience kids? I've got no idea. But seriously, I feel like maybe they would have been better off with no stream than that stream. Dream and Visions has dropped me a bat. Well, hello to you. Math is just different in an arts world. Well, it must be. Some discount codes are 4% off. Really? I thought it was just $4 off. Interesting, interesting. Hello, everybody. Hello to you, Paul. I hope you're doing well. Jerry Gonzalez, morning. I can't understand how InArt goes live without being prepared for it. Poor girl, she didn't know what was going on. Somebody just pushed her into the stream. It felt like that. And as I said, bless her heart, had a crack, did her best. I don't, all this commentary is not aimed at her. It's aimed at them as a company because that was just not up to scratch. And I feel like she was hung out to dry with that stream. Mark my words, they will provide a second base. I don't know what 2BD. Boring as hell bases, yes, but I will not be using that basic base. I got 4% off purchase using a code. Oh, okay. Not sure what $4 was. I thought people were saying it was $4 off. Apologies if I'm wrong. In my opinion, the English was not as bad, not providing her with all the info, not updating the website. I could understand what she was saying, but the info was changing constantly. Shame on InArt. Yeah, as I said, I thought she spoke well, but as I said, you could see with some of the comments, she didn't understand some of the nuance, which, as I said, not a criticism of her. I also did think, really, some people, can you not keep your little things to yourself? But anyway, I'm dying over here. That clip is just so funny. As I said, I can't promise I'm not going to milk that clip to death because I just think it's kind of hilarious. To hear that head roll across the floor was brutal. I know. As I said, I felt so bad for her, but then I did also pause the stream to clip it, so I'm kind of not a good person. You can hear the head roll off the floor. I know it was so bad. I think there was a time when Sideshow was streaming and showing their General Grievous figure. I want to say someone got that nightmare of a figure to stand and pose. Well, kudos to them because I've heard that thing is not easy to get to pose. Maybe the next time they do one of these streams, they should post up a graphic of the details of everything the release includes, and maybe the host can introduce themselves at the start. That was my thing because I was like, who is she? What is her role? I had no idea who she was. And I was like, did I just miss that part? It was very confusing to me. And I think you're right. I think it would have been really simple. If they're using something like StreamYard, you could have had a background, and then that could have had the product details. You could have had a scrolling ticker, which would have the details. You could give her some graphics that she could overlay on the screen, or have someone do that for her, like this. They could have done so much. This is probably why Howard at Hot Toys does not do any streams. I totally agree. I think this is why they don't do a lot of communication. InArt said $4, but influencer codes actually give 4%. Oh, really? I thought it was $4. InArt code is only for $4, but some YouTubers. Okay. I thought it was $4 on the website. You are correct. You get an amazing $4 off if you pay it off now, but various folks have code for 4% off. Yet more confusion from our friends at InArt, because that's what got me. I was going, like, what's the benefit of paying in full now to get $4 off? Like, that's in no way enticing to me at all. Rotating the phone to landscape mode would have looked more professional instantly. Yeah. That too. I was like, why are they streaming vertically? I don't know. I don't know that they knew what they were doing. I don't know. John was on holiday. I don't know. But I'm going, was there no one else that maybe knew how to set this thing up a bit better than what they did? Obviously not. Graphics would be a good idea, but not just the one you're currently showing on screen, Helen. It's not any better. What do you mean? This is a wonderful synopsis of the stream, Mike. How dare you? How dare you? There's a code if someone wants 4% off. I don't know who that code is from, but there you go. So shall we talk about the figure? Let's talk about the figure. Look, I know there's some peeps that love InArt. Everything InArt will do is better than Hot Toys. They've turned the loaves into fishes and all that stuff. I have a little bit of a concern with InArt of late because I saw it with Anne Hathaway and I'm seeing it now with Arnold Schwarzenegger. where these things look better with a mask or sunglasses. Like that Anne Hathaway Catwoman, like when those goggles are not on, something doesn't look right. And this guy looks infinitely better with the sunglasses on. I don't think this likeness is there. They originally said they weren't updating it, then they were. I'm very confused because they also said they were updating the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman likeness, and I'm not convinced that they did. I think they fixed her hair, but I'm not convinced that they fixed her likeness. And with this guy, I don't know if it's just me. This hair seems too dark. And I know the pictures are really dark as well. So are we getting this figure in the best light? I don't know. In the stream, the hair looks really dark as well. But I'll be honest. Like, you look at these two sculpts. Excuse me. The one on the left, I don't think the likeness is great in that one. The one on the right where the eye is a bit more closed, I see Arnold Schwarzenegger a bit more in the face. But again, that hair seems not right to me. But also, he feels old. And I don't know if that's just me, but I definitely feel like the sculpt on the left, the more battle damaged one with the eye more open, something about the likeness is lost to me. If I was going to say which one do I think is better, the one on the right, to me. We got some more pictures of the head sculpt, again, in some not so great lighting. And look, the battle damage on this sculpt looks really nice. I will say that looks nice. But I'm just not sure that this head sculpt is it. And people, I'd love to know what people think about the Hot Toys ones now, because when the Hot Toys figures came out, I feel like the sentiment was very positive. This looks just like Arnie, 10 out of 10. People were raving about it. And I'm looking at this figure going, I don't even know that you could display this with the Hot Toys figures because he looks so much older in this InArt head sculpt. And I'm keen to know, is it just me or do other people feel the same way? Because I'm looking at these two T2 sculpts from Hot Toys. I think the color of the hair on that looks nice. I definitely see Arnold Schwarzenegger in these without the glasses on. But then this InArt one, I don't know. So this one, which I think looks stronger, I still just think there's something about it to me that looks old. Let me see what you guys think. Let me catch up. Oh, you ordered before you saw the code. I'm sorry. Is this the battle damage from before it hit the floor? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it looks like now, but this is pre-floor battle damage right here in the middle. That's what it is. InArt figures get better looking if you have a few beers. Oh my goodness. Oh, hey Shiro. Well, hello to you. I don't mind Hathaway, but this looks pretty ordinary. It's an old Arnie face with black hair. The hair looks totally the wrong color to me. And even in the stream, like at one point they were saying it's rooted when it's clearly sculpted. I know I need to let the stream go, but my goodness, it was so poor. But where the beer goggles, I mean, maybe it does look better with a few beers. I don't know. In my opinion, the video of the figure looks much better than these photos. I'm happy, especially for the price and getting two figures. I'll do the sunglasses on figure one and none on the heavily damaged. That's fair enough. They didn't show any love. Stream was a disaster by InArt. Yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees about that. For sure, the Hot Toys is coming for InArt with their version of this figure. Well, I mean, I was so waiting for Hot Toys to go, and here's our T1, but they haven't as yet. But as I said, I have often questioned, like, I'm not a Terminator collector. I have often questioned, like, because for me, I feel like the T2 version of the T2 movie is maybe a little bit more popular, a bit more definitive for people. So I did kind of feel like, is T1 going to have the same pull aside from people who are big diehard Arnie fans? Because I know there are people who just love Arnie. Whatever the figure is, whatever the character is, they're going to buy it because it's Arnie. So for me, I do go, is this a bit of a lesser license to have? But then I do look at these sculpts and I do feel like, to me, the Hot Toys ones look better. They do. That T2 clean version nails the head sculpt, in my opinion. I agree. And this is the thing, like when I was digging up photos of the Hot Toys version, it was one of the few times where all the comments about the sculpt seemed to be really positive. And for me, this version of the sculpt, this battle damaged one, I just don't see him there. I don't. I prefer InArt version. I might sell the Hot Toys one. Well, I'm sure people will snap up your Hot Toys one, personally. I prefer the clean Hot Toys version, so that will be my one Terminator representation. That's fair enough. I think that's the other thing. Like space is at a premium unless like Terminator is your number one collecting priority. I don't know that people are going to want 3. And if you get a second figure, maybe you're more inclined to want to get the endoskeleton or the new T1000. Like, I don't know how many people will want 3 Terminators. If that's you, let me know. I'm genuinely interested to know. To be fair, Arnie did look very different in T1. Most people usually imprint T2 Arnie in their minds. T1 head sculpt does need work, but not a million miles away, in my opinion. I don't know. Should it look older, though? I don't know that it should look older. Keith says, I just rewatched T1 over the holidays, and I think people should do the same before they critique the head sculpt. The makeup job on Arnie was far from stellar in the 80s and very soft. But yes, the InArt sculpt does look older now that you've mentioned it. And that's my thing. Like, if I looked at this InArt one, I would assume it was from like a reboot 10 years later. It looks much older. T1 Hot Toy sculpt with relaxed brown hair and a younger look was a winner. No point comparing Arnie to T2 as it's very different. I think people will compare because, as I said, like this is Hot Toys' most recent Terminator, which is what only been released maybe 6 months ago, and it's got a great likeness. So I feel like for me, I do compare it because I'm like, this is one of those rare situations we get where they've made something close to each other. And I understand, like, different movies, there'll be some differences, but I just don't think they've captured the likeness as well as what Hot Toys did. And I think, you know, InArt definitely, I think, has gotten a lot of comments about their head sculpts, how good they've been, the Joker 4-pack, the Paul Atreides June figure, that Snape head sculpt is fantastic. So I think they've done some great work, but this to me, and as I said, also looking at the Hathaway Catwoman, I'm like, these past couple of sculpts, there's something about them to me that are not quite right. I probably shouldn't admit to this, but I've never seen T1, but I've seen T2 multiple times. Yeah, I just feel like that's not uncommon. I don't feel that way. Arnie T2 older, T1 younger. I think most agree with likeness capture not there and needs a lot of work. Well, this is what I'm keen to see. Will they rework it? How much will they rework it? Because when they showed the Wonder Woman recently at an event, I can't remember if it was a Wonder Fest or what it was. Was it the Singapore Comic-Con? Where were they last? I can't remember. And they said they had reworked the Wonder Woman sculpt. And I don't think they had. I think they'd done the hair. I think they'd made the hair look a lot nicer. But the sculpt itself, it was very hard to tell if anything had improved. So it will be interesting to see what comes about with this one. As I said, this is the sculpt that I think has a much stronger likeness to Arnie. And then we've got some full body shots here. So I do feel like with the glasses, obviously, I think it looks better. I still feel like the hair looks a bit too dark. But I do think it's cool that within the one figure, you're getting both looks. And the fact that they're giving you a second body for free, my goodness. We had 6-Scale Shills in the chat not that long ago saying they got slugged £75 for a replacement body. So look at the value, £75 worth of body. So look, I think it is great that you are getting 2 full figures. I hope they give a second base because, as I said, I don't see anything about that base that looks particularly fancy or expensive. So I think if you're going to go to that effort to say it's a 2-pack and give a second body, I hope you will chuck in an extra base. If not, put it on your website for sale. You made Gandalf dioramas available for sale. If you're gone, no, we're giving a second body, we can't possibly afford to chuck in an extra base, at least make it something that people can buy. That's what I would like to see personally. I would like to see some promo images that are also a little bit better lit. I'm not going to lie. It was very hard to get a good sense of some of this figure from the photos they posted. 14 Wellington's here. Hello. I don't think they'll rework this head sculpt. Well, will they, won't they? That stream was confusing. That stream was very confusing. And as I said, I'm hoping they do something about the Hathaway sculpt, but I don't expect that they will because they've not said anything despite people commenting on it. But at least with the mask, it looks okay. And I would display it with the mask. Whereas I think with this Terminator figure, I don't think you would always want the glasses on. So the fact that I do think it looks weaker when it is just the sculpt, like to me, that would be a big letdown. I've never looked it up because I don't really care to keep up with Hollywood makeovers, but did Arnold have any work done to his face between the Terminator movies? Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask. I have absolutely no idea. Nothing stands out to me. I feel like he's looked pretty similar. I don't know. If somebody knows, please correct me if I'm wrong. I've got no idea. InArt display bases are ordinary. A flat base, textured or not, is pointless. Hot Toys diorama for T2 2.0s are amazing. Hot Toys is doing some fantastic diorama display bases. And this was my thing with Catwoman as well. Like, the price for that was not cheap. And that base was incredibly underwhelming to me. And I'm just like, you know, they started off with like the jail cell diorama, which I thought was really nice. And then you've got some really nice dioramas with the Harry Potter figures. So they can clearly make some nice diorama backdrops and display bases. They're just not really doing it for a lot lately, it seems, which I think is a shame. Like, I even look at the David Corenswet Superman, and for me, I'm looking at the Hot Toys base, the diorama nature of it. It's got the magnets. Like, for me, I'm like, that element of it, Hot Toys 100% has gotten better. So I'm just like, these plain square bases, like, they aren't much to write home about. And I get that maybe they don't want to have deluxe and standard edition SKUs for every figure. But I mean, I think if this was better planned, then wouldn't you make the 2-pack perhaps have one standard base and one little bit more interesting, elaborate base? Like, this addition of the second body and calling it a 2-pack feels a little bit knee-jerk. Like, I just feel like if this was better planned, would you not give something a bit better than just one plain base? Carlos says, I believe that in order for InArt to accept a return, you need to do an unboxing video. Yeah, that's apparently the word on the street, that now if you get InArt figures, you've got to have a video unboxing. And we had that chat a couple weeks ago because someone, and I forget who it was, but whoever you were, amazing point. What are the guidelines for the video? Like, what's the criteria? Because I know, like, I was chatting about this with Costa, and even he said, like, what if your phone battery dies and you've then got there's a skip in the video? Are they then going to go, oh, well, this isn't a continuous video. Like, how do we not know that you stopped recording to do something to the figure? Like, I just think not everyone has the setup to do it. But then Costa said, and I don't think it's a bad idea, he goes, everyone just start a YouTube channel and unbox your figures. I mean, I'm lucky I unbox my figures live, so I'm going, hey, I got no problem with that. But I know for a lot of people, you may not have a tripod. Where are you putting your phone? How are you opening the box and pulling the figure out while also recording? How well does it need to be lit? Like, what do they need to see? And my whole thing was, like, with like Sideshow, I'm pretty sure a photo with a timestamp is sufficient. So I don't understand why a photo with a timestamp, your name, the time, why that can't be used, because all the parcels are coming with tracking. You can say you've got to give us an unboxing photo within X days. That's a much easier thing for people to do, because you can go, okay, I can see, Carlos's parcel arrived on Monday. He sent us a photo. The timestamp on the piece of paper says Monday. And when we look at the metadata on the photo, we can see that photo was taken on Monday. That all makes sense. It's all consistent. He got it that day. He unboxed it that day. He sent us a photo taken that day. We'll send a replacement. Like, I'm really not sure why everyone needs to be a videographer now. And even the John Wick diorama I got had a sticker saying to do a video unboxing. I was like, really? Is that what we're coming to? I don't think that's a great way to approach your customers. Everyone needs a UV light to bring out the red eye, since they don't want a light up feature. Well, and that's what was interesting to me as well. I think a lot of people wanted it to be light up. I'm really confused as to whether that's something they are or aren't going to do. They did have the little UV light to show that. But again, I'm like going, who's flash? It's like even when Hot Toys did it with the Black Panther stuff, it's like, who's rolling around flashing a UV light on the thing? Like, I get it if you're doing photography, but I'm sure if people have this in their display, they want to have it lit up. That's the way we're going. People don't want things with light up features not being used in their display. So I do think that's a bit of a letdown as well. The best thing about having watched the live stream for the T800 is knowing what pose not to put the figure into if you don't want it to take a dive on your display table. Well, speaking of, let's roll the clip again, guys.
Receive the priority shipping. So the earlier whoa.
At least not today. JB says, I found it interesting that InArt quickly pivoted to offering 2 figures after the price for a non-rooted single figure was dismissed. Love the jackets, good accuracy. Look, the outfits look fantastic, and kudos to them. Like, 2 real leather jackets. The clothing in itself looks fine. I have absolutely no issue with the clothing. I think their tailoring has been pretty good. Ariali's here. Good morning, Shiro. I'm driving but listening. Might crash if you talk about Star Wars, though. Oh, goodness. Well, Star Wars in 60 seconds will come up at some point. Please don't crash. Mike says, so maybe this is a topic for another day, but I feel like diorama bases are great, but they're a tough pill to swallow if you're limited with space. I mean, do you leave space for another figure or the base? This is where I love a diorama base that's modular. So I think of like the Pattinson Batman, where you can have just the rectangle base or you can have the diorama. I like that. I also do wish that if you were getting a DX, that they would give you a standard base. I would like that, because I agree. There's some diorama display bases that, because I tend to get, if it's DX, I'm getting a DX version. But yes, space can be an issue. So I do wish, because again, a simple display base is not that expensive. You're making them for the standard edition figure. I wish they gave you both if you were getting a DX. I think it would be such a cheap and easy inclusion to have. InArt and J&D expect videos. Apparently we're all scammers. God, I don't know that a scammer's dropping J&D prices, but yeah, I don't know what to say. And it's interesting because I had this conversation with Costa on Two Greek Geeks where we're kind of hypothesizing, where is this coming from? And is it, these companies, the margins aren't big, they're producing less, they don't want to have to make that much extra stock just in case for QC issues. But yeah, I don't think this is a great way to go about it, to come from this position that feels like it's one of distrust. As I said, £75 for a replacement body for a Legolas figure. That's like 150 Australian dollars. That's wild. It's absolutely wild. I know that it's out there, but I don't really prefer the UV blacklight displays. Yeah, I'm a bit the same. I think Mike's enjoying the clip as much as I am. I just noticed she looks to her right before the figure takes a nosedive. She looks like she's not comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know how much of this kind of stuff she's done. As I said, I fully commend her for having a go, but yeah, she was set up to fail, and I really feel for her because it sucks. Cool Collectibles is here. Hello. Even a simple diorama base like the recent T1000 would be nicer. Yeah, I liked that base. I thought it was simple but effective, I would say. I like that. Oh, Helen, don't forget to cover the Savage Opress release in 30 minutes. Come on, that's a good compromise. Mate, you're lucky I included it. I almost went, there's too much newsy news, but then I went, no, we've made a commitment, and that commitment is 60 seconds. The popping noise it made when it hit the floor sounded like something from every collector's nightmare. Oh, God, it probably is. Dropping a head sculpt is like the worst. Like any other part of a figure, I feel like I can live with, but a head sculpt, no. Too many people have like chipped like paint off noses and stuff like that. Like it just, no. So this may or may not be what Arnie comes with. Who can tell? So apparently second body is coming, even though it's not officially stated anywhere. You get the clean outfit. You get the can we call it a clean head sculpt with the sunglasses? You get the battle damaged outfit, battle damaged head sculpt. You get the sort of swap out arm with the bandage. You get some weapons. You get some swap out hands, and one display base, maybe two. Who knows? We don't know at this point. They still haven't updated the website. Last I saw, but hopefully they see sense and they give people a second display base. Because as I said, if it's a true 2-pack, I think you need to include a display base. All the 2-packs that I've bought have 2 bases. I don't see why you'd have a 2-pack with one. Like the Heath Ledger Joker 2-pack, you had 2 bases with that. One was a diorama and one was standard. Like I don't get why you couldn't have done something like that with this. In all fairness, there are plenty of collectors who are currently taking advantage of retailers and manufacturers by making fraudulent claims to score free parts and resell. Look, maybe there is, but I have to think that's a pretty small percentage of people. And with time, would you not come to know who these people are? And I always think of, and it's maybe a niche example, but I'm going to use it. I was in a con in the US many years ago, and I was getting some photo ops with actors. And each time in the line, they made a point of saying that they knew there was people that deliberately blink in their photos to get a second photo op. So they made a point of going, we're going to count you down. You know, if you blink, like, we know who the people are who do this. And you know, I'm from Australia. Like, I've been to cons, but I've never heard them say that. And I said to the person in the line, I said, do people really do that? Do they deliberately mess up their photo to have a retake? And he goes, oh, yeah, we've got some people that, like, every photo op they have, they will do something to mess it up so they can get a reshoot and get another interaction with the celebrity. And I just went, this is crazy. So might there be a small number of people? Sure. But surely with time, you would come to know those people, would you not? But also with Sideshow, don't they make you destroy the thing you're asking to replace? Like, don't you have to provide evidence? Because I've heard people say, oh, I've got this problem and they want me to destroy this head sculpt and I don't want to do it because, yeah, it's damaged and it still feels wrong to do. Like, surely you can provide evidence of, okay, I'm saying this body is stuffed and here I am, I've broken it into 6 pieces and there's your proof. It cannot be reassembled given the way I have broken it. Like, there's going to be other options there. Mike says, I still don't know how I feel about the clean head sculpt. I mean, it's only clean if you have the glasses on. Why not make it completely battle damage free? I mean, great question. Maybe that's what they went for. Like, oh, look, it's clean if the glasses are on. Cool Collectible says, but that's why retailers like Sideshow, just what I was saying, make you destroy the faulty parts so you can't resell. I absolutely agree. I think there's other ways around it aside from expecting a video production. But again, if you want a video production, give people some guidelines, because I would hate for someone, as I said, like the camera batteries died, they're trying to film and open it at the same time, and they go, oh, you've mishandled it. Or give people like guidelines or some criteria as to how this video needs to be done, but also have a tolerance to understand not everyone's a professional reviewer with lights and tripods and all this setup. Rooster is here. Well, hello to you. Their Ledger Joker 2-pack was good until Hot Toys followed up with Artisan, then J&D, but props for their die-cast accessories and JSL. They missed the boat here for T1 not having a die. Boring. Yeah, I feel like people are wanting them. Even if they don't want to use them, I do feel like they're becoming more popular. But also, I know for me, like, sometimes I want the diorama for a completely different figure. Like, I put it out there that I wanted to find the Batfleck brick wall diorama, and I was very fortunate someone gifted that to me. And I want that for John Wick or Eve Macaro. I don't even have a Batfleck figure. So I do feel like there's people who, with some of these bases, they will totally seek them out for other purposes. People blink to get extra pictures. I'm way too honest. I never would have thought of that. Me either. I was just like, what do you mean? Like, why would you do that? And they said, oh, no, we know them. So we've said to them, you blink, that's it. You're not getting a redo. But apparently that's what they did. I do feel like 6-hour collectors are very easy to complain or even scam. In statue collecting, pieces will most likely arrive broken and collectors just buy super glue for $2. I think it depends on your confidence to fix stuff, though. Like, I know for me, there's certain things that I would feel comfortable trying to fix, and there's other things I would not. Keith saying Sideshow doesn't always make you destroy the item. Oh, okay. I thought that they did. Ask me not to blink for a photo and I'll definitely involuntarily blink. Oh. I don't know if the destruction of the figure is a recent thing with Sideshow, because I had a tiny tear in Endgame Catsuit that a normal person wouldn't notice, and Sideshow sent me a new body without demanding anything be done to the original. Oh, really? Maybe that's because Endgame figures were so overproduced. I don't know. It's always the small percentage of people who ruin it for the rest of us. Sad but true. Sad but true. I don't see anyone talking about the impact of AI on collecting. Should we all expect perfect AI-generated sculpt, more accurate tailoring details? Will we see the demise of hand-sculpted head sculpts? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I'm probably still a little bit of wait and see with AI. I still feel like you need a baseline of person with skills and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe because a lot of people now do like digital renders, right? And then they 3D print the sculpt. So maybe. That's a very interesting question, Anthony, that I do not have an answer to. I feel like some companies have internal customer scores and will deal with returns differently depending on the customer, possibly. And maybe that's a thing. Maybe if you're like 10-year customer with Sideshow, no instances of, reporting issues or whatnot, maybe they treat it a little bit differently. I don't know, but I do feel like sometimes it's luck of the draw and people get unlucky and other people get very lucky and they don't receive figures with issues. You should compare the InArt T1 with the Hot Toys Clean. It's chalk and cheese difference, and I'm a fan of the Hot Toys sculpt. Well, I had I had the T2 one. I did do this comparison a bit earlier, Rooster, because I do feel like the T1 sculpt looks old by comparison. This one I feel like is stronger of the two InArt ones. This one, I don't really see the likeness in at all. I will never try to fix my figures anymore. One of the magnets came off one of my Iron Man figures and Sideshow recommended a glue and I tried it but misplaced the magnet so the piece doesn't sit properly. Oh, shame. Total user error on my part there. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. you know what else is a bummer? Howie Claus. That you just had to slide in Star Wars. I thought we were going to start the year Star Wars free. I was hyped. I was going to say Little Shuri is hyped, but I don't know where Little Shuri is. Actually, I know where she is. She's outside. So now we've got to do Star Wars in 60 seconds. And as you know, Helen needs to align the chakras and do all the things to prepare for Star Wars in 60 seconds. So one moment, please. I'm worried I'm getting a cold, and I will not be impressed if I get a cold with the 40-degree heat happening at the moment, because that is miserable. That's a miserable existence, everyone. Shiro, you got the budget for Jazz Inc. figures coming up to enhance or replace any of your Hot Toys Batman collection. Look, I have the budget for Jazz Inc. Do I want to pay that price? We'll see. I've pre-ordered the Catwoman. I am non-committal about the Penguin till I see how the Catwoman actually comes out, is my honest opinion. I've been pretty vocal about that on the stream. I had hoped InArt Jazz Inc. would have been a bit more down the line with Catwoman before they started opening up all these other pre-orders. So I know that, you know, the prototypes are all from custom artists and look amazing, but I'm getting something made in a factory in China. And what is that going to look like? I don't know as yet. So the Catwoman Clean DX is on pre-order. How that comes out will dictate if I get the Penguin. I would like the Mayor Penguin. If the Catwoman's good, I'm open to getting the Mayor Penguin. But after that, we'll see. As I said, I want to see the quality in hand before I just start pre-ordering things. But I am trying to build a 89 to 97 line. So if they are doing key characters that I need, so for me, Poison Ivy and Batgirl are two figures I'd love to add to that collection. If they were to do those, and as I say, Catwoman comes out great, then I'm interested. Until then, I'm going to be a little bit cautious. Forget Star Wars. The new announcement of the Temple of Doom Indiana Jones is one example of head sculpt they've finally nailed. We'll talk about Indiana as well. Don't worry. We're only going to spend 60 seconds on Star Wars. I know you're new here, I think, Core Collectibles, and that's okay because Helen doesn't really do the Star Wars, but Helen likes to, you know, do the newsy news and not discriminate. So what we do is we put a minute on the timer, and it's a new year, but my ring light is still not in any better position for you guys to see that there's a minute on the clock. So we're going to put a minute on the clock, and I'm going to talk about the Star Wars. What's Helen going to say? Who knows? Some people get annoyed that Star Wars in 60 seconds is not factual, and I'm like, welcome to my channel. I do not know. All right. Star Wars in 60 seconds. First one for 2026. What a treat. Howie Claus, he gives and he takes. And I thought I was getting a Star Wars free week, but I'm not, because today we got Savage Opress. And do I know what a Savage Opress is? Of course I don't. Don't be silly. And you know what? I was looking at this and going, this guy, he kind of looks familiar. And then I went through the blogger photos and I saw Darth Maul. And I was like, this reminds me of when you're in school and you haven't done your homework and you go to your friend, can I copy your homework? And they're like, yeah, but like, make something different. Don't make it look the same. And that's how I feel with this. And I don't know which figure is the original and which one is the homework that is slightly different. But then I went onto the Googles that said they were brothers. And I was like, okay, they're brothers, but one's red and one's blue. And then the Googles also told me there's another brother. And I thought, is he going to be blue? So we've got the three primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, but he's not. And that's just frankly disappointing. So Star Wars, you've disappointed me to start 2026 because why are two yellow and one red? Don't at me with the answer. But I just was waiting for the brother to be blue. The three primary colors, would that have not been nice? But no, it's not, because Star Wars. Lol. Oh, Mike, Indiana Jones. I thought everybody loves Harrison Ford, do they not? Rooster says, you're like me. I cast a wider net for Batman, 66 Batman through to Nolan trilogy, nothing in between or after, not comic book or video games. What do I have? I've got my 89 to 97 line. I've got my Dark Knight trilogy cabinet, and I've got Pattinson. That's what I have for now. 14 Wellington says, I know Sideshow has also banned some customers from purchasing through them after recognizing their abuse of the free replacement of a part with the manufacturer's defect system. But that's my thing, 14. Like, that's what I don't get with InArt and J&D. Like, surely at some point you start realizing it's the same name or it's the same shipping address or there's some correlation. And you take that measure, like bringing in these rules that impact everyone because of a handful of like bad apples. It seems a bit much. I'm not sure where you are in Australia, but it's 1:46 here in Adelaide. Was in a rush to skip the Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. I'm in Perth, so it's 11:19. I am 2.5 hours behind you. But also, I went to the Perth Lynx versus Adelaide Lightning game, and Perth won comprehensively. I'm sure you're not a women's basketball fan, but I'm going to take some bragging rights when I can. Helen, you know, if you keep doing Star Wars in 60 seconds, soon you'll have no choice but to watch the original trilogy. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. And I will never watch Star Wars again. Blue, you know more than me, Helen. I had no idea Darth Maul had more than one brother and that he's blue. No, he's not blue. That's my grievance. That's my grievance with this. There's another brother and he's yellow, according to Google. Why are two yellow and one is red? I don't understand. And I no one explain it, please. No one explain it. Some Aussie trash talk, Team Perth. Western Australia is the often neglected and forgotten state in Australia. We're taken for granted, damn it. Perth, no wonder you're still up live chatting. Yeah, I start my stream at 10 p.m. my time, which just works because if I'm at work, it gives me time to come home and chill out for a bit, and then I do the stream typically for 2 hours, but I don't know how long this one's going to go for. Sometimes we go for 3 hours, and that's a lot. But then I have Saturday to recover. So yeah, the time, as I say, it's a time that works for me. I'm sure it wouldn't work for a lot of other people. I kid. Well, some people keep trying, Carlos. Some people keep thinking that they're going to say the thing that convinces me to watch the Star Wars, and it's just not going to happen. Helen, their names are ketchup and mustard. Get it right. Oh, I'm sorry. The best part of Star Wars in 60 seconds is all the inaccuracy, some of which I believe are hilariously unintentional. Yeah, of course they are, but it was funny because last week I was talking about Chewbacca, like being a creepy kidnapping stalker of C-3PO. And someone was like, he was rescuing him. But I'm like, I'm sorry, there's no place for facts in Star Wars in 60 seconds. It is whatever Helen's mind comes up with that week. Natalie says, I'm with you, Helen, on recording figure. I'm never done anything like that and how I'd begin. And that's my thing. Like, unless you are giving people some kind of a guideline or a framework to use, how are you doing that? I don't agree. New year, new stream length, just saying, oh, goodness. Sometimes Saturday Helen really has beef with Friday Helen. I'm just going to say that. Oh, here we go. New person. W2F. You've never watched the OT. My history of Star Wars, which I'll give in 60 seconds. I'm not a sci-fi person. It doesn't interest me. My mum and my brother love the Star Wars, and I remember at some stage I was a teenager and Star Wars came out in the cinema again, and it had 37 seconds of extra footage and it was digitally remastered, And my brother took me to the cinema and he said, you're going to watch this. You're going to like this. So we went to the cinema and I fell asleep. I fell asleep because I was bored and I got woken up to pew, pew, pew lightsabers. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And he was like, did you fall asleep? And I was like, I sure did. When does this end? I have no interest. I'm not willing to revisit. We're in an era where there's too much content. And I'm never going to watch the things I want to watch, let alone watch other things that I don't really have an interest in. So I'm indifferent to the Star Wars. It exists. It's fine. But everyone keeps trying to convince me to watch it. And to be honest, I think that triggers the Greek in me to then want to not watch it even more. That's my brief Star Wars history. Oh, Anthony, that's right. You're from Adelaide as well. I wouldn't dare bug you to watch Star Wars. I know you too well, so just kidding around. Appreciate you, Carlos. Valkyrie's here. Good morning, Helen and friends. Good morning to you, Valkyrie. It's almost heading towards the morning to me. We're getting there. Not a sci-fi fan either. Interesting. No, I've tried watching Stargate, Star Trek, all the stars. Not interesting. Oh, Keith, you have to explain it. Maul was originally yellow, but then someone ate his turkey sandwich at work, which was known as the moist maker, and he got really upset and turned into red. Look, that sounds right to me. That sounds right to me. I would believe that. What about June? The two recent movies are pretty good. Haven't seen them. I'm pretty well known for not seeing a lot of movies, and it offends people, and I don't apologize for that either. Welcome to the stream. You must be new around here. Yeah, I like to think to know me is to find my quirks charming, but maybe not. I've got no doubt that some people might go to YouTube and go, oh, it's this chick. I'm not interested. And that's fine. That's fine. Terminator sci-fi. Who said I'm watching Terminator movies? Been around YouTube for a while. Just randomly saw the live chat happening right now. How long have I been on YouTube? Maybe 2 years? So, yeah, my channel's not that old. It's not that old. Okay, that turkey sandwich explanation made me laugh out loud. I'm at work, people. I know, guys, Laura's got to pretend she's working. Be cool. Be, like, funny, but not, like, chuckle. Not laugh out loud funny, right? Howie Claus and the Iron Man. We all know that he's going to come out with some funky things. And they decided that to start 2026, we needed golden and copper version of the Iron Man Mark III. And I know a lot of people will roll their eyes and why do we need this? And I'm not interested. And this is not for you. This is for that very niche group of collectors that just love Iron Man and will get every SKU, every color, every version of Iron Man that gets made. This is for them. So that's why these things are made. In limited quantities, and I'm pretty sure it's already been released. So they have this ready to roll for the new year. And look, as I said, it's of no interest to me. I don't think it's going to be a lot of interest to you guys either. So we'll go over this one pretty quickly. I just assumed you're a Terminator fan since you spoke of the new figure. Well, I mean, I follow the Newsy News. Like, I take my responsibility of the Newsy News that's not Star Wars pretty seriously. So I've seen a bit of T2. I'm not watching, like, the Emilia Clarke Terminator films. I'm not there. Since we're talking movies, have you seen It Welcome to Derry series? It's phenomenal. Sorry, taking off track. I've not seen any of those Pennywise things. But I heard that series was good. I did wonder if that would make people finally buy those Pennywise figures that are still in stock. So Helen is still holding out for a Nanotech BB-8. Oh my God, Neon Tech BB-8. That's the only Star Wars figure I'll ever buy. If Howard makes Neon Tech BB-8, I'm in. I'm buying that for Darth Allison, but no other Star Wars, please. Just Neon Tech BB-8. I'd maybe put him up with my Avengers. That would be fun. I was genuinely surprised how quickly it sold. Not sure if it's completely sold out, but last I saw, Sideshow was saying 9 of these left. As I said, there is the people that just love the Iron Man, and that is their collection. And fair play to them. They're devoted. They're devoted to the ideal of Iron Man. So here we have a bit more of a look of the figure. As I said, I don't really know that there's much to say about this. I did think it was interesting that you do have the exclusive version that has the little display case, which I do think is cool. I do think it's cool. You know, you could then have this displayed on your desk or somewhere else. So I do like the fact that you have this option if you so desire, and it comes with a graphic pattern on it to make it a little bit fancy. Did think it was interesting that there was no really talk, unless I missed it, of how this lights up. So I'm assuming it's batteries. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I couldn't see any way or any mention here of USB light up. And I feel like when they do these overviews of the figure, if it is USB light up, they're pretty on point with making that known. So a little bit disappointing because, you know, 2025 we said was going to be the year of just having USB light up. So if this is more battery operated, that is a bit of a bummer. I think, you know, particularly after that Artisan Iron Spider, there's probably a lot of us hoping that we might move to the little plug into the foot or the base or somewhere where we could have a little bit of a better experience than batteries. But as I said, I'm assuming this is based with batteries because there's no mention of USB light up. It's a pretty standard Iron Man figure with a new look. What is going on? Where am I up to in the chat? Keith says the display case is cool as long as it's made out of quality material and not the clamshell stuff. I mean, I would hope it's not clamshelly. I would hope it's some kind of plastic or acrylic. I would hope it's not flimsy clamshell material. Hey, Helen, you very excited about Gold Member Iron Man? Always, always. So hyped for the Iron Man. I don't know about the clear acrylic shoebox display. Oh, Howie Claus gives you a pretty display base. Look at the people. It will be the same as the quarter scale case, I guess. Oh, that's right. They did have a case with that one, didn't they? I would say you're missing out on some of the best movies ever. Some absolute classics like Aliens, E.T., Dune, Starship Troopers, Predator, even Interstellar or Avatar. Yeah, I haven't seen any of them. Maybe E.T. when I was a kid, but I don't really remember it. It is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. Keith's just asking what that case was made out of. I hope it's some kind of plastic or acrylic. Like, surely it's going to be something decent, right? I'll stop talking movies now. Am I just upsetting you with how many movies I haven't seen? Because the list is long and very triggering for a lot of people. So it is what it is. Anthony's saying that that case was well made, so that's good. That's good. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Howie Claus. Howie Claus loves you and wants you to be happy. So for me, did not see this coming, but I did have a big chuckle because, you know, we had the hot Han summer with the Star Wars in North America. And now we've got the hot indie summer in Australia with these Harrison Ford figures. And there was some interesting posing going on. It did feel like we were back at the old Bass Pro Shop catalog. But I have to say, I looked at this and was not expecting this. I do know Temple of Doom, much loved movie. And I just think this figure looks really good. There's so much to like about it. So we've got the head sculpt. I think it's a really nice likeness to Harrison Ford. You've got the hat, silicone body, which I really like, particularly given this shirt with the sort of open look on the one sleeve. There we've got one of the modeling shots from the catalog. Doesn't that look really nice? But I can see a lot of people having a lot of interest in this figure. So as I said, I was not expecting this, but I thought, hey, they're bringing out the Harrison Ford figures for Star Wars. They obviously got people working on that sculpt. So I guess it probably makes sense that they've then dived into doing some figures from Indiana Jones as well. And I think it's really cool. We've got some leather parts to this. So the belt with the holster and the whip, they're genuine leather, which I think is a nice touch. We all know that not all things that should be leather are with Hot Toys. So I'm always happy when they do give us some leather accessories. We've got that diorama display base, which I think is cool. And it's actually got two sides to it. I've got a picture that shows both sides, but I love a base that gives you options. So you've got multiple display options with how you can use this base, which I think is really cool. And I'm assuming that the rectangle base, which we can see on the photo on the right, is a modular part of it. I'm hoping. Otherwise, why is it here? Hot Toys. But I think it looks really cool. I just think there's so much to like about this figure. As I said, this diorama display base, I love that you can either have it as a ladder or with this kind of skull. You got the movie logo in there as well. I don't mind that. I know there's probably some people that may not like that, but personally, I think it's cool. And if you don't like it, well, you turn around. Use the other side of it, right? Let's see what say you in the chat. Judging by your background, I assume you're a Batman fan and a Marvel fan. I'm indeed. Dark Knight Trilogy is my main line. I've got this. I've got Tumblers and Armory. I also really love John Wick. I have quite a few John Wick figures. But yeah, DC and Marvel's probably the bulk of it otherwise. That sculpt is incredible. Would be an instant order for me if I didn't already have the older version. Well, this is the thing, and I can understand it's a hard decision sometimes, like to 2.0 or not 2.0. I know for me it's something that I've struggled with, given Hot Toys is revisiting a lot of figures. So I can completely understand people deciding to stick with their older version of figures. That's completely fine. Not trying to compete with you, Helen, but I haven't seen this movie. Fig looks good. I guess the shirtless look is a thing going forward. Well, I mean, you know, Hot Toys, they've done seamless body for Wolverine. They've seen people love it, and I guess this is what they're going with. And I don't think people are going to be mad about it. Like the Bane with the seamless body looked really great. Like I think for some characters, it's absolutely the right choice. And I think, you know, I'm hoping that we're seeing a bit of improvement with the silicone and we won't then hear down the line that the bodies are split. I know some people have made a point of posing Bane and so far he's holding up well. But I do think like not having the joints, it does add that layer of realism that some people do want. I know people in particular that do a lot of figure photography, they don't really want visible joints. So I can understand this being something that they may look at some older figures and go, hey, we can now redo that with a nice seamless body, and 2.0's ahoy, right? Just wish it had a jacket. I know they can't do much about it, but that wrist bothers me. I was waiting for someone to bring it up because I guess you do have it hidden with that one long sleeve shirt. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. It's like with the TVA Wolverine. Like some people just get drawn to the wrists and that's all they can look at, and other people it doesn't bother them. So it's interesting because I was having this conversation with cousin Anthony about like that realism element, and I was kind of saying like for me, I don't need like it to look like a shrunk down version of the person. Not as in like I don't need it to have a good likeness, but the people who want it to look like a real person, I'm not quite there. As in, it needs to have perfectly rooted hair and no visible joints. Like, I don't know. It's still a collectible to me. So I want it to look good, but I'm going, you know, if this was something I wanted to buy, one visible wrist is not a deal breaker to me. This new Temple of Doom figure should be the impetus for them to redo the original DX figure. That was one of my very first figures back in 2011, 2012, so it's definitely due for a 2.0. Now that I'm looking at this, any idea how much of a hassle it will be to tuck the shirt into the pants if you're going to interchange the shirt on off? I guess it depends on how that shirt connects. And also, I'll be honest, I don't love the belts. So I do wonder if this is like the John Wick 4, and I probably bang on about this way too much. I really like the way they did the belt on the John Wick Chapter 4, because it wasn't like having to thread the buckle through the tiny hole and looping it in. Like, the belt at the front was like one piece, and then there was like a Velcro connection at the back. So if that's like this, then taking the belt on and off should be pretty easy and it should be achievable. But I don't know how the belt attaches or not. So for me, I do get very mindful of not wanting to undo belts too much if they are a real buckle, because I always worry about damaging them. So I don't know. Time will tell. I thought exactly the same. Tucking the shirt back in will be a pain. Well, as I said, I think it depends on how that belt works for me. Mike and Helen need to get together for some movie marathon nights. Sure. What will we watch, Mike? Can I interest you in the John Wick franchise? I was surprised that Hot Toys included a shirtless pic of the figure as an option. Well, I guess maybe they're not as sensitive as Disney, right? Moose Dreams here. Hello, community of collectors. Excited for multiple Indiana Jones. I need to upgrade my Sideshow indie, like my Soldier Disguise indie. As I said, maybe this will be the first of a few. Who knows? What's up with the end of Indy's whip? Does the leather not really go to the end? I don't know. I'm totally the wrong person to ask. I've spent way too much time on custom indie figure variants over the years. Great to see Hot Toys is making new indies. This looks great, especially the silicone upper body coming home. I guess that's the hard thing, right? Like, I think it is striking a balance between new IPs and loved IPs. And I think probably with DC and Marvel being a little bit down over recent years, it's probably given them a chance to revisit some of these older IPs. It will be interesting to see what happens with like Doomsday, and if that is the hit that I'm sure Disney is hoping it will be. Like, does that sway things? But I do have to say, I like the mix of some old classic things and some newer stuff. I'm quite down for that. Just don't leave the silicone arms bent on display. A static museum pose is the only way to go. I mean, we'll see. As I said, I've seen people deliberately posing the Bane arms for a couple months and they've been okay. So I am happy for them to do the experiment and report back to us. But that would be my concern as well. I've always erred on the side of caution. Like, I've got the Black Panther Shuri figure that has silicone arms. Valkyrie, I don't do a lot with them. She-Hulk, yeah, I'm still a bit nervous about that. But as I said, hopefully they're getting a bit more durable with time. Blood Dad Life is here. Hello, Happy New Year, Helen. What figures are you hoping for in 2026? In the meantime, I'm still waiting on my Superman and Batman returns. When you say waiting or hoping for, like as in that I've pre-ordered, or figures that I hope Hot Toys will make? Because I did have a slide in my stream last week of things I was hoping would get made, and they were some I think will get made and some I don't think I've got much hope of. So you'll be shocked, all female characters. So the first was the Millie Alcock Supergirl. I'm really excited for that movie, and I think Millie's awesome. So I will definitely be wanting to pick up a Supergirl figure. I wanted Black Widow 2.0 from the original Avengers movie. I wanted Okoye, of course. I've been saying that for years and years. And then to round out my Batman 89 to 97 display, I'm hoping Poison Ivy and a real stretch Alicia Silverstone Batgirl. They were the 5 things that I was hoping. But of my sort of pre-orders, like, I'm like you, Batman Returns I'm really hyped for. The Artisan Winter Soldier and the new Strike Suit Captain America I'm really hyped for. And the Mr. Freeze. Ever since I saw that at Secret Base, that thing is a beast, and it just made me even more excited to get it. Cool Collectibles doesn't trust the silicone. That's fair enough. It's your figure. You do you. I don't think Hot Toys has spent nearly enough time making Star Wars figures, so they need to step it up in 2026. My goodness. My last secret base tour, I really, really wanted to do the Star Wars in 60 seconds. But I resisted. But that's what I wanted to do. I hardly ever change the poses of my figures. I try to pick a heroic or iconic pose that's not too dynamic so I can leave it in the cabinet for ages and just smile looking at them. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think a lot of people do that. I think I do that with a lot of my stuff as well. Once I get it in a pose I like, I'm very hesitant to want to change it because Lord knows when I get that Artisan Black Widow eyes where I want them to be, I'm never touching that thing again. So taking another look at Indie, as I said, diorama base, absolutely love it. And these are your inclusions. As I said, diorama base, which I think is amazing. You've got the separate rolling eyes. You've got the upper body made from silicone, the whip and the holster with genuine leather. Let's hope 2026 we might see a little bit more leather being used. You've got his satchel bag. He's got his hat. He's got a few weapons there, hands and the like. As I said, a total curveball, but I loved it. It felt very, very iconic for Hot Toys to drop a couple of big announcements on what was New Year's Day in Hong Kong and Australia. Cousin Anthony knows the Black Widow Artisan eyes. Guys, the Black Widow Artisan eyes. I cannot. I'll get them one day, but I hate those things so much right now. Only disappointing thing with the Temple of Doom figure is non-removable hat and swap out hairpiece. Oh, the hat's not removable. That is a bummer. Well, that'll probably come with the version with the leather jacket, right? They got to do something to make you buy the next one. I will always stand with you on Okoye 1,000%. I'm on board for a Supergirl. So, yeah, I'm typically not I don't always love when companies make the same figures, but when it comes to Millie Alcock Supergirl, like I want Hot Toys, I want InArt, I want them fighting it out, so I can get the best version of that figure. I want that to be perfect. I want the coat, I want a crypto, I want a really cool base. I want that to just be top notch. But yeah, Okoye. Like, she's in Doomsday, right? Like, if we don't get her from Doomsday, I have to think Hot Toys is never doing her. And if not, some third-party company needs to step up and do her because she's been in so many movies. Like, we got, like, John Walker's and Red Guardians. Like, where's Toys Era at? That's such a Toys Era thing to do. Make an Okoye, Thunder Toy, someone, anyone. I'm begging you. No snake accessory. I know he eats snakes at least. I would have liked to see a new Ripley from Alien. Yeah, I have to say, Natalie, I actually said that in my tour of Secret Base. I was really surprised given all the 2.0s and particularly we've seen some new Alien figures and whatnot. I'm really surprised they haven't even teased an Artisan Ripley. I would have thought there'd be an interest in that, like a new Ripley figure. But yeah, I'm really shocked at that too. I can't believe Pop Culture have the Artisan Black Widow listed for 900. Well, I mean, that's the Sideshow markup and then the Pop Culture markup. But that's the thing. I picked that up for 580 Australian dollars in Hong Kong. So the Australia tax is real. Luckily, companies don't understand that all the companies eat more if they don't do the same characters at the same time. But wait 3 years when the tech is improved and call it a 2.0. Yeah. As I said, I'm normally not a fan of it, but for Millie Alcock, I'll do it. Helen, is it me or has Pop Culture's prices gone up? For any figure in particular, Mike. I don't know if there's been a change to the Australian exchange rate. I still think it's pretty low at the moment. So not that I've noticed, to be honest. As I said, if you give me a specific example, I can try to think. But yeah, I haven't noticed anything. I was actually quite surprised at some figures, like the John Wick Chapter 1 wasn't too bad. I typically just think the prices will keep going up, but some have been not too bad this year. So I've been pretty happy with them. A Ripley with Power Loader would have been an instant pre-order for me. That's been long overdue, especially since they've teased her before at conventions. We'll never say never. I mean, they brought out that Nightwing and that Azrael Batman from the figure graveyard. So I think pop prices are still good, especially with pre-order discount and use of pennies. Yeah, 100%. That's my system as well. Way cheaper than Sideshow. Yep, Sideshow shipping to Australia costs a literal bomb. Did that once, not in a hurry to do that again, personally. So the other big surprise, this is definitely not going to be a 2-hour stream, Battle Damage Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And I saw this and I was like, no way, I can't believe they're doing this. I know that custom artist Riley Lowe did this. Other custom artists have probably done this as well. But I looked at this and my immediate reaction was, that's cool. They're giving it a go. And as I said, I feel very fortunate that I'm not the person that is going to overstudy details and it's got to be 1,000% accurate. I'm like, is it cool? I'm interested. I'm going to buy it. And I feel like there was probably a small portion of people that were like, this is cool. I'm so excited. But boy, were there a lot of people just picking this thing apart, which I think is interesting because you look at the price points, and this is where I think I've said this before, like, if you are that person that needs everything to be 1,000% accurate, I think you need to be buying custom figures. And the prices of those are typically a lot higher than Hot Toys. So I don't know. I don't know what some people want sometimes. But here we've got in question the custom figure. So in the middle, it's the version that Riley Lowe did. His Instagram handle is there. It's SXIKERO18 if you want to check him out. He does some interesting custom or battle damage figures. So takes the base Hot Toys figure and then makes changes to them. And I think that's an interesting thing to note. Like a lot of these customizers, like they need that base Hot Toys figure to then do the work that they do. So my understanding was back in the day, I think this figure was around $620 US, the custom figure from Riley Lowe to get done, roughly. A Hot Toys mass-produced figure is always going to be at a cheaper price point. Is it going to have as much detail? Probably not, because it's probably not going to be someone doing it by hand. I think that's the reality of this. But I don't know. I put this picture of the Hot Toys figure on the right because I felt like it was maybe the most comparable to the photo that I found of the Riley Lowe version. I think Hot Toys has ticked some boxes. Like, I like the fact that they've done this little bit of hair that's visible as rooted. That gives that little bit of realism. As I say, the battle damage is not to the level of the custom figure, but I think they've given it a crack. And I think people, you know, they're upset about the Spider-Man logo. They're upset about the Green Goblin helmet that's coming with it. It was not the reception that I was expecting. So let me know. I don't know if I've got any diehard Tobey Maguire, Raimiverse fans in the house. Like, let me know what you're thinking. Because as I said, for me, and I'm not a Spider-Man collector, I looked at this and thought, this is cool. I laughed. Some people were like, you know, salty at Hot Toys, like stealing the idea. Like, Hot Toys, like, they're going to do this. Like, they have the IPs. They have the licenses. Like, these custom artists, they're doing stuff off their own bat. They don't have the license. So Hot Toys, like, I can totally see why they'd take some of these ideas because they're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? But again, like someone is making maybe 20 to 50 custom versions. It's a very different product and a very different ball game. So as I said, I was quite surprised that the reception seemed, I don't know, from what I saw, it felt a bit more negative than positive. And that really surprised me because I thought the reception of this would be a lot more positive than it was. Moose says, in regards to Ripley, look how long it took them for a new Harrison Ford. Now that Sigourney Weaver is fully in Disney, with her appearance in the new Mando flick, it'll happen. If not, you can ogre and envy mine. Sure. That seam down the mask sculpt is embarrassing. Hot Toys should be able to find a solution for that by now. Yeah, I think that's a common issue people do have with the Spider-Man suits like this, that the seam. It's interesting. I was watching a video by Iron Logan, John, because he's quite into the Tobey figures and he's picked up a couple of custom figures, and some of the customizers do offer the option of, do you want the seam on the neck or not? So it's quite interesting. And even some of those custom ones, like I've seen people get the custom, I forget the company, but they have a little bunching of fabric on the chin. So I think it's something that I think must be tricky with this fabric and this character. Maybe it's just me with regards to pop culture. I had a bit of a laugh when I saw this Spidey. I've seen so many custom versions of this, and of course, Hot Toys says hold my beer. Yeah, they've done this with a lot of figures. Like classic Loki, like SooSoo Toys showed that, then they did it. I was talking about this with Bob. Like Woo Toys did those. Were they the repulsor cannons, and then Hot Toys included them? Like this is what happens. As I say, they've got the license to make this. Like all these customizers or third-party companies, they're producing stuff. And I think that's the risk of doing it. You don't know that they're not going to see it and turn around and go, we'll do that, thanks. Because again, what can they do? Not much of anything. Anthony says, I was so excited to see this Spidey release. I'm not a picky collector, but that head seam is a figure killer. Immediately takes you out of the fantasy. That's a shame. So we've got 3 pictures here now of just the Hot Toys sculpt. I'm surprised Hot Toys even went to the trouble of adding the wool hair for such a small bit of hair. We all know how good they would have made a sculpted version, but I think it's good. There's no predicting when Hot Toys will or won't use the rooted hair. Beetlejuice says hi. I just pre-ordered 2 figures from Pop Culture and noticed the prices immediately went up afterwards. I'm not sure if they raise their prices as their stock decreases. Is it the T word? Is it tariffs? Because I do know they've opened up shipping to the US, but I'm pretty sure there is some like tariff or tariff impact fee, because even though it's coming from Australia, it's a product of China, so you're not paying the Australian tariff rate, which I think is 20%. I think you're paying the Chinese tariff rate. So I'm wondering if that is it. I saw someone complaining that Hot Toys is reusing the glider from No Way Home for the diorama base, which is inaccurate. That was another one of the complaints. I'm pretty sure it was the glider, and also was it the goblin mask as well? Like there was a few things people seem to be very unhappy about. Pop will increase the price once a figure comes in stock. That's why pre-ordering with the 10% discount and pennies discount is key. Yeah, they always have the 10% pre-order discount. But as I said, I have a feeling they're charging tariff impact fees for people in the US. Hot Toys pays a lot for licensing these franchises. They definitely need to make these variants to make back the investment 100%. I remember back in the day, it used to be the same with Funko Pops. Like people would make custom Funko Pops, and then Funko would like make those characters and they look pretty similar. And it's like, oh, they're stealing. It's like, well, actually, they're not stealing because they own the license to make this. They're silently collaborating with you. They don't need your permission because you don't have permission to actually do what you're doing. I'm in Canada. Okay, interesting. All right. I don't know then. How much is it? No, you wouldn't get charged the goods and services tax. I don't know. Moose says more hardcore Spider-Man fans are livid over the initial prototype pics. If you don't like it, don't pre-order. They do fix things if we riot, as in don't pre-order. Well, I would always say that to people. If you don't like it, don't pre-order it. That's the bottom line. As I said, I was pleasantly surprised that we're doing this. I looked at it and I thought it looked really cool. I'm not a diehard Raimi-verse. Tobey's my Spider-Man. He's my preferred Spider-Man. I'm not starting a Spider-Man line. So for me, it's not something I'm looking to buy. But it feels like there's some people who get very caught up in the details. And as I say, for them, I'm going, then maybe you need custom figures more than you need hot toys. I thought the diorama base was cool. I really liked it. As I said, I'm a fan of a diorama base. This doesn't look like it has the hugest footprint. I like the goblin mask. I think that's a nice touch. You've got the usual just little spider webs and whatnot. As I said, I thought this came with a lot. I thought it was pretty cool. Some collectors feel entitled, which gets very old. Yeah. And they'll just spend the next 12 months posting under every Hot Toys post. Fix Tobey. This will be the next Fix Tobey campaign. Fix Tobey. For Pop, the other important thing is when to use pennies for 50% off or 10% off. Only use 10% off on figures, on high cost figures to make the bang worth it. Or multiple pre-orders. I tend to wait to have 3 or 4 things that I want to pre-order, and then I do the 10% off because then you're getting it off multiple pre-orders. So sometimes that's a really effective way to use pennies. You're not using pennies for each individual pre-order. So for me, I know my 2 John Wicks, my ballerina, and something else. InArt Catwoman. So I did 1 big pre-order, 4 figures, did the 10% off, and I'm getting that off 4 figures. So that's how I tend to roll with it. Costa's here. Kalimera. Kalimera to you, sir. How are you doing? It is literally Kalimera to me because it is now midnight in Perth. Happy Saturday to me. Mike says, I enjoyed the Tobey Spideys at the time, but personally, Andrew Garfield's acting really sold me on his version of Spidey. It's funny. I've never watched the Andrew Garfield ones fully. I was on a plane and I went to watch the first The Amazing Spider-Man, I think it was. And I just the actor playing Harry just being this greasy, creepy. It was, I was just this is not Harry to me, but also it just felt too soon to Tobey. And I think because I liked Tobey so much, I kind of I didn't even finish the movie and then I never went back. But I've heard good things about them. And are they on Disney Plus now? I really should give them a go. I've got no reason not to, but as I said, the guy playing Harry, it just felt so wrong. I don't know. He creeped me out. Entitled collectors, just part of the course. Yeah. It is. I didn't even know if you pre-order from Pop Culture, you get a 10% discount. Yeah, they do. Every post they do about a new figure will often say it includes a 10% pre-order discount. So I think pretty much for Hot Toys, everything has a 10% pre-order discount, I think. No, if they get exclusives or artisans, they do not. InArt figures don't have a 10% off pre-order discount either, but most of the Hot Toys otherwise will have the 10% pre-order discount. 14 saying, for example, I paid $4.17 for the Wednesday Addams figure. The website is now listing it at $4.99. Well, is it in stock now? Because could that be the pre-order discount? Because if it's in stock, then that 10% pre-order discount comes off. So this is where yes, you've got a bit more of a buffer of knowing when Hong Kong releases, okay, we've probably got a couple of months while it's still technically pre-order and you get the 10% off. But if it's in stock, then it will go back to the recommended retail price, which would probably be, if it's a $500 figure, like $50-ish, like that sounds like it's a little bit more. So I don't know why it would be more than 10%, but typically it is 10%. I sent you a message earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to wrap up soon as well because I am not convinced my throat is going to hold up. So I'm sorry I missed that, Costa. Signal me. 2:30 a.m. here, time for bed. Thanks for such a great live chat. We'll look out for the next one. Thank you for coming to hang out. I'm here every Friday at 10 p.m. Perth time. So I think that's 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning for you. Thank you for coming to hang out. Always nice to have a fellow Aussie in the stream. Happy New Year to you. Helen, at least try to get through the Andrew versions. His acting is heartbreaking in the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's what I've heard. I've heard only good things about Andrew. As I said, I just found the Harry guy really creepy, and it just felt too soon to be doing another origin story in my mind for Spider-Man. So hence, my turning it off was not based on the quality of the movie. It was based on other things. Wednesday still listed as pre-order. Oh. Hang on. This is bizarre. Like, I don't understand why that would change by so much because as well, it's not like anything drastic would have happened to the exchange rate. Oh, maybe. I don't know what happened there. But like it's because the recommended retail price is $549.99 Australian. So the 10% off takes you to $499.99. So I don't like you seeing it for $419, $417. You paid $417. Hang on. Maybe is that the exchange rate with Canada? Hang on. Because I think you guys are like, I think $1 Australian is 90. No, because that would still only take it down to about 460. Well, kudos to you. Pop Culture gave you a present. You didn't use pennies or anything when you pre-ordered? Color me confused. So that seems so contradictory for me in the States because Sideshow usually discounts in stock versus pre-order, but I can see the law of discounting pre-orders. Well, I think for Pop Culture, it's probably a couple of things. I think, let's be honest, in the times of old mate William Wang, and he was getting figures quicker, and at times he had figures in stock and was selling them for cheaper than the Australian recommended retail price. And Pop Culture is like a sister company to Icon Collectibles, who are the Australian distributor. So they've probably got a little bit of more flex there with price than a typical retailer would. So I can understand them wanting to do that to try to get more people pre-ordering and buying from them. And I was always surprised, that they let you stack the pennies on top of them. I remember the first time I did that and it worked. I was almost like, oh my God, like I'm going to pay for this in full, which I never normally do because I'm worried this is some kind of glitch and they're going to find out and like try to, like if I just pay the deposit, they'll try to like cancel the order. But it's been like that for years. So, I mean, as I said, I think maybe they're doing that to counter some of the delays and keep Aussie collectors buying from them. As I say, it's been, God, goodness, since the Endgame figures that they've had the 10% pre-order discount. But I feel for them because then I feel like they do have to discount so many figures because, as I said, the prices here are very high. I feel like very few shops still carry Hot Toys. I can't think of really anywhere in Perth that just has Hot Toys in stock that I can walk into and buy. So I think they're doing what they can to try to keep the patronage up. But then I do feel like they end up discounting so many as well. So I do hope it's still a profitable endeavor for them, because if they were to stop selling them, I don't know where I'd get them from. I hate the repeated origin stories. Just give me a new movie with a new villain. Well, this was my thing as well, Anthony, and this is why I really liked the Batman, because I was like, if I see the pearls in the alleyway one more time, I cannot. So I'm down for that. And as I said, I just feel like for me with Andrew, it was like, didn't I just see this but with Tobey Maguire? Like, is this going to be the exact same thing? So I do like the way they did it with the Pattinson Batman. Like, I like that they did it as that more year 2, a bit more of a detective Batman. I think a bit more of a different take on the Riddler. I liked that a lot. Blue Bear. Shiro, what do you think of the J&D Joker? I actually saw someone selling a brand new set for $800 US for the Type A set. I'm not that up with what the different sets are. I know C is like the deluxe whatnot. People who have it seem to really like it. Like, I know Cousin Anthony Figure Posing Channel has it, and that was his co-figure of the year, but that was the Type C version. I don't know. For me, I didn't really love that laughing sculpt. I don't know if that's included with the Type A set. But I'm probably not the right person to ask, because I'm still a bit on the fence about everything J&D bar their Two-Face, which I think was absolutely exceptional. It's not the exchange rate, and I did use pennies to drop the price even further, so maybe that's I think that would be it. I think you're getting the 50% pre-order discount. Hang on, let me get my converter app. So then you took $50 off. Oh, that's, yeah. Because then you're essentially getting it for $4.50 Australian, which is like at the moment $4.13. So I think that would be it. You've got the 10% pre-order discount and you've stacked your $50 reward on it. So that would be why. There we go. And as I said, this is what a lot of us Aussies do. We get the reward points, you got the 10% pre-order discount, and then you stack them on. So as I said, for me, I tend to wait till I want 3 or 4 things, and then I'll redeem like a 10% off pennies voucher. So then I'm getting that additional, basically getting 20% off multiple figures for one redemption. So that's how I tend to do it. Tariffs have wiped out any 10% benefit on pop culture. I do love them when I find a bargain. I need a 20% off coupon for any in-stock items, not just Funko. Yeah, it's interesting. Their 20% off sale that they did for Boxing Day, so Boxing Day is like our Black Friday, it was in-store only, which is interesting because I do feel like they tend to have a Boxing Day sale online, and I don't know if because they did a unplanned 20% off sale in September, if that was why they maybe didn't do one for Boxing Day. But yeah, it was just in store, which was a bit of a shame. It's the same here in my area, Helen. I would love to have a comic shop near me that has new Hot Toys, or be able to walk in and walk out with a figure instead of waiting for a shipment. Yeah, and I used to have that, Mike. Like, I discovered 6 scale through statues because we used to have a really great shop in the city here that sold comic books. It had statues and figures and all kinds of cool memorabilia. But it's just bit by bit, those shops has disappeared. And I think, you know, the baseline price for a Hot Toys figure is like $500. Like $500 is the cheaper end of it. And for a lot of people, that's just not what they're prepared to spend on a collectible. So as I said, I can't begrudge people who don't want to spend that much money. And I think that's the thing, like the shops here that have them will have them if you pre-order from them. And as I said, they can't compete with pop culture when you're able to get a 20% off. And again, if you're buying multiple figures for a year and you're getting 20% off, like we're talking hundreds of dollars. So it's kind of a vicious circle with how this all works. Philly's here. Happy New Year, Helen. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy New Year to you, Philly. Lovely to see you in the chat. We've got Often here. Hello. Better late than never. Part of Sony's deal with Marvel is there has to be a film in production every 4 years. Otherwise, the rights reverts back. There you go. The only thing I can think of is Helen is Boxing Day, end of year sale. I lucked out onto. Yeah, it's as I said, like typically pop culture, you'd go, what sales do they have? End of financial year, which for us is the 30th of June. You typically would have Boxing Day. Sometimes you might get a sale around Easter time. Now and then they do Black Friday. But yeah, not having something store-wide for Boxing Day really did surprise me. Moose is greeting a lot of people. Same Helen. Is it Kudabuyuki? I can never know how to pronounce that. Was my introduction to 6 scale. Don't ask me to say its name. I still struggle. Kodobukaya? I know what you mean. They were statues. I can totally picture it, and I don't know how to say it either. So we can say it wrong together during our movie marathon. That's absolutely fine. So as I said, Tobey, we've gone way around about. And no one's told me if they're a diehard Tobey fan or a Raimiverse fan and what they think of this, because I am keen to know. Because as I said, for me, my first impression was, this is cool, something a little bit different. And it did make me wonder, like, might they revisit some of the older figures? Might they redo the Harry Goblin? Might they do a Norman Osborn? I don't know, because this is the thing, the No Way Home figures are still kind of sitting around in Hong Kong, but would they do a Harry? Would they do a Topher Grace Venom? Like, what else might they do? So when we get a figure like this, it does kind of get me wondering as to what else might be coming from Hot Toys. As I said, people were upset about this diorama. I thought it was cool. You've got the green goblet helmet accessory, and you've got the glider in there as well. As I said, this is what makes me happy that I'm a It Looks Cool collector. I think Moose is trying to help us out. Kotu Bakia? I don't know if that was any better or worse, but we gave it a crack. That's what we do. And this is what you're getting with your Spider-Man figure. As I said, we've got the head sculpt with implanted wool material and fringe. You do get a clean sculpt as well, so not just the battle damaged one. The body has the battle damaging effect. You've got the goblin mask, highly detailed battle damage effects. You've got the diorama base. You've got hands. You've got some of the web effects. Some pretty standard fare for a Spider-Man figure. Those last ones, that's how I say it. I think that's it. Let's roll with that. So as I said, I liked Tobey. If you're watching live or in the comments and you're a diehard Tobey fan, do let me know what you think about it or anything else we've talked about in the stream. I'd love to know what you think about the InArt Terminator. I've gone one too far. Whether you are interested in Indiana Jones. Let me know. As I said, I'm very fortunate to have people that regularly watch the replay, which I appreciate. So anything we've talked about, if you're watching on the replay, share your thoughts, because I am genuinely interested in hearing views from other people. Not sure why some don't like this. Looks good to me. This is my thing, Philly. Like I was saying before, that when I saw this, my first reaction was like, this is cool. I can't believe Hot Toys is doing this. And I thought that would be the reaction of a lot of collectors. And I think it was the reaction for a small amount. And then for a lot of people, it seemed to be just picking apart everything as being inaccurate. And that's where I'm going. If you are that person that needs 100% accuracy, then I think you need to be getting custom figures, which are going to cost you a lot more than Hot Toys. So some people are not always happy. I don't care if the glider base and goblin mask aren't accurate, but I won't buy it because of the seam down the middle of the mask, which looks really bad and is inexcusable. Yeah, I think that's been a bit of a theme with this sort of Spider-Man type suit and seams. I kind of don't get how they haven't found a better way to do it. That highly detailed battle damage comment is kind of funny. I mean, don't you just cut the suit up? Look, and I think people who got the custom version, which is a lot more damaged, will scoff at that. Look, I think there's also a little bit of like some weathering effects there as well. So it's not just the rips. The only thing is why no opposable eyes? I mean, good question. I'm not sure why no opposable eyes. Because I would have thought if the head is removable, would you not then in theory be able to access them? Unless they just haven't mentioned it. I don't know, but I would have thought given it is a swap out sculpt, then surely you would have the opening in the neck through which you could adjust. Ramstein Fancy, hello Helen, Happy New Year, first stream of 2026. I'm glad to be here. I can see a lot of grumpy peeps over here. Lighten up, enjoy the little things. I'm a bit like you. It is the first stream of 2026, although I'm probably going to wrap up soon, so a little bit late, but lovely to see you in the chat. Yeah, as I said, I just thought people would be so excited for this figure, and I was really quite taken aback when I was looking through the comments and it felt like a very small minority of people were happy and most people were just very upset about a lot of things. I think they're using the Tobey head sculpt from No Way Home as the base, which didn't have rolling eyes. Oh, maybe with like a bit of a different paint application. Possibly. That's a good theory, Keith. That is a good theory. And I mean, it would stand to reason as well, because like I talked about the Iron Man 3 and how that doesn't look to have USB light up. If they're just doing repaints of Mark 3s, they're probably just using some old stock or an old mold or whatever, and just that didn't have that feature, so this doesn't have it either. So I think that's a very good point. I'm neutral in this Spidey announcement. It's a pass from me. Fair enough. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up soon because we are at 2:17, and as we like to say sometimes, Helen needs sleep. If you haven't seen it already, look at me being all influencer-like with the sad, dramatic photo, which sadly does work. It disappoints me. I kind of did this photo ironically, and it upsets me that these photos work. So I did put out a video during the week which was about the Hot Toys Artisan line, because we'd kind of been talking about it on the stream, and I'd been sharing some thoughts about different perspectives I had about the line, and I thought I should just put a video together that kind of talks about the main things that I would like to see Hot Toys fix with the Artisan line in the new year. So thank you to people who have watched, who have commented. I really appreciate it. There's been a lot of interesting comments and a lot of interesting points that people have had to make, so I always like to hear people's points of view. But if you haven't checked it out and you're not sick of my voice, I think it's only like a 6 or 7 minute video, so it's not a particularly long watch, but it's there. And as I said, look at me with my little sad influencer like face. Oh, Ramstein fan, when I saw this Spidey, I was so excited and still am. Awesome. I'm glad someone is excited. I did see this video, Helen. Very good posing yourself for the thumbnail. Look, it's not easy when, like, Shuri doesn't take good photos. So I'm, like, there with the phone, with the timer, and we got something usable. But as I said, I felt absolutely ridiculous posting this. And some people laughed at me, and fair play, laugh away. But they work, sadly. They work. I want to see tears in the next one. Maybe I can have a tissue and be dabbing my eyes. Helen, your voice reminds me of my ex, but she was a Kiwi. How dare you? How dare you say I sound like I'm a Kiwi? Fun fact, quick story time with Helen before I go. Let me get this picture off the off the stage because it's ridiculous. I now also have like a big monitor I use for the stream, and it's way too much, Helen. The first time I went to America, for some reason, everybody thought I was from England. The second time I went to America, everybody would ask if I was from New Zealand. And the best response I could think of when people asked if I was from New Zealand, they're like, oh, you sound like you're from New Zealand. And I said, oh, that's like saying to an American that you think they sound Canadian. And people's reaction was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. And I was like, that's hilarious. But they thought it was like this offensive thing. So that was my comeback. So, I mean, if I heard your voice, I'd say you sound Canadian in response. But someone else, Rooster, who was in the comments earlier, also commented on my video, was like, your Australian accent is thicker than mine. And I'm like, I just talk naturally. This is my voice. Helen, you're on your way to being part of the influencer batch. Absolutely not. I don't think I'm ever going to be part of any influencer batch. Do you want to know why? Because I'm the kind of person that clips this and plays it multiple times.
Receive the priority shipping. So the earlier whoa.
They're not giving me influencer batch because I'm like Johnny Cash. I don't walk no line. Like, no one knows what I'm going to say. I'm not going to be blindly loyal. And to be honest, I don't want to feel compelled. Not that I think my channel's big enough or that they would want me. Like, I'm not sitting here pretending I make the best reviews. But I just want to be able to speak freely and share my honest opinion on things. So I don't think I would want that even if it was offered. But Lord knows I'd have to do so much more than what I currently do on this channel to grow it and be in that gang. I dated a Kiwi a long time ago. She was nice. Kiwis are lovely. There's nothing wrong with Kiwis. I just don't think I sound like one. Helen, when I saw that indie, I had to get him. I'm not into Indiana Jones like that, but this figure looks amazing and difficult to pass up. I'm sure there's a lot of people who feel that way. To an American, Aussies and Kiwis sound alike. Just a fact. I can definitely tell a difference, but I lived with one. That's fair enough. On that note, we'll end the stream. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. First stream of 2026. I'll be back next week. We're keeping Fridays alive. What will Howie Claus have in store for us? I have no idea, but I hope 2026 has a safe and happy year in store for all of us with amazing collectibles. And I hope to see you again soon. Have a lovely weekend.